Chosen one, have you ever wondered why your life has been so hard? Why you've been tested more than others? It's because you are being prepared for something much greater. And that moment is almost here. Do you ever feel like your life has been one endless battle, a storm you can never quite escape? You've been through things most people couldn't survive. Losses, betrayals, struggles that cut deep. But let me tell you, it's no accident. Nothing in your life has been random. The truth is, you've been chosen. Every pain, every challenge was orchestrated with divine purpose, shaping you for something extraordinary. Chosen ones are not made in comfort, they are forged in fire. Now, the hidden truths they never wanted you to see are coming to light. There is a reason why the battles you faced have been fiercer than others. It's because you have a destiny so massive, so world-changing, that they are terrified of what happens if you awaken to it. Stay with me, because in this video, we'll uncover why you faced these trials, how to recognize when your preparation is complete, and what's waiting for you on the other side. If this resonates with you, if you felt the weight of being different your entire life, go ahead and like this video and comment 77 to confirm this message is for you. Chosen one, everything you've been waiting for is closer than you think. Stay with me until the end, because your destiny is unfolding now. Why chosen ones face the hardest battles? Have you ever felt like you were carrying a weight that no one else could see? Like every step forward required more effort than it should, while others seem to glide effortlessly past you. It can feel isolating, unfair even, as if life is targeting you for reasons you can't understand. But let me tell you something profound. It's not because you've been abandoned, it's because you've been chosen. That heaviness you feel, that relentless pressure, is the hand of God shaping you into something extraordinary. Just as the blacksmith heats and hammers raw iron to forge it into an unbreakable sword, so too have your trials been the fire and the forge, preparing you for a destiny beyond anything you could imagine. The world doesn't often celebrate those who are being refined. In fact, it tends to do the opposite. The systems, the individuals, and even the unseen spiritual forces, recognize something in you that you might not even fully grasp yet. They see potential. They see light. And that terrifies them. When you carry the spark of divine purpose, you become a threat to mediocrity, a disruptor of darkness, and a challenge to the status quo. This is why your path has been riddled with challenges, betrayals, and obstacles. It's not a sign of failure. It's proof of your calling. Think about it this way. Diamonds, one of the hardest and most precious substances on Earth, are formed under immense pressure and heat. Without that intense process, the carbon remains just that, ordinary, unremarkable. But when subjected to the right conditions, it transforms into something that reflects light with unparalleled brilliance. You, chosen one, are that diamond in the making. Every difficulty you've faced has been part of this divine process, a necessary preparation for the role you are destined to play. The Bible reminds us in Zechariah 13 verse 9, "And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my God." Fire is not comfortable, but it is transformative, and God has been using it to purify and strengthen you. Sometimes, the battles you face don't make sense. Why did that friendship or relationship end so abruptly? Why did you lose that opportunity you worked so hard for? Why does it feel like you're always having to start over while others seem to move forward effortlessly? These are questions that haunt the chosen ones, especially when you're in the thick of the struggle. But consider this. Could it be that God is not allowing you to settle for less than what He has for you? Could it be that every setback is a setup for something greater, something you might not be able to see yet? Consider the life of David before he became king. He was anointed as a young shepherd, but instead of stepping immediately into the throne room, he spent years in the wilderness, running for his life, misunderstood, rejected, and hunted by Saul. It would have been easy for him to feel abandoned by God, but in truth, those wilderness years were his training ground. They prepared him to be a king who could lead with wisdom, humility, and courage. The wilderness wasn't a detour, it was a critical part of his journey. Like David, your hardest battles are not a punishment, they are preparation. They are molding you into someone who can carry the weight of a divine calling. Even the forces that work against you are part of this preparation. Have you ever noticed how, Just when you're about to make progress, distractions arise? Relationships crumble, unexpected crises appear, and doubts creep in. These are not coincidences. They know what's coming. They can sense that you're on the brink of stepping into your destiny, and their goal is to stop you before you realize just how powerful you are. The Bible tells us in Ephesians 6 verse 12, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." The battles you face are not always visible, but their intensity is a testament to the greatness that lies ahead. Let's bring this into the context of your daily life. Maybe you faced rejection, doors that you thought were meant for you suddenly slamming shut. It hurts, doesn't it? But what if that rejection was God's redirection, steering you away from something that would have derailed your purpose? Maybe you've experienced loneliness, feeling like no one truly understands you. But what if that solitude was meant to draw you closer to God, to help you hear His voice more clearly? Maybe you felt the sting of betrayal, someone you trusted turning their back on you. But what if that betrayal was meant to teach you discernment, to sharpen your ability to see people's true intentions? Every battle has a purpose, even when it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Your struggles are equipping you with tools that you'll need for the next phase of your journey. Patience, resilience, empathy, faith. These qualities aren't formed in times of ease. They're forged in the crucible of hardship. And when you finally step into your purpose, you'll look back on these battles and see them for what they were: the foundation of your strength. They want you to give up. They want you to believe the lie that you're not enough, that you'll never make it, that the pain is pointless. But here's the truth they don't want you to know: they can't stop you. The only way they win is if you quit. And quitting isn't in your nature. You've come too far, endured too much, and grown too strong to stop now. The Bible says in Isaiah 54 verse 17, "No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn." The weapons may form, but they will not prevail. You were designed to overcome. As you reflect on your battles, I want you to understand something deeply. You are not the person you were when they began. You've been changed, strengthened, and refined. The light within you shines brighter now because it has been tested, and that light is your greatest weapon. It's the reason they fear you, the reason the battles have been so intense. And it's the reason you will win. Stay with me, because this journey is far from over. In the next section, we'll uncover the hidden purpose behind these tests and trials, and how they're aligning you with the extraordinary future that awaits. But for now, take a moment to recognize your strength. Comment "strength" if you felt the fire of refinement shaping you into who you were always meant to be. The battles may be fierce, but so is your spirit. And the best part? The victory is already yours. The hidden purpose behind your tests and trials. Chosen one, have you ever looked back on the painful moments of your life and wondered, why did I have to go through that? It's one of the hardest questions to answer in the midst of suffering. When your heart is heavy and your path feels uncertain, it's natural to question whether there is any meaning behind it all. But let me assure you, there is. Nothing you have endured has been wasted. Not a single tear, not a single sleepless night, not a single heartbreak. Every trial you have faced, every moment that tested your faith, has served a hidden purpose. You see, God's plan for you is not random or chaotic. It is intentional, calculated, and deeply personal. And the very tests you thought might break you were actually building you into the person you were always meant to become. Sometimes, the purpose behind your trials is not immediately obvious. It's like standing too close to a painting. When you're up close, all you see are chaotic brushstrokes, colors bleeding into one another, and smudges that make no sense. But when you step back and view the full picture, you realize those strokes and smudges were deliberate. They formed something beautiful, something whole. Your life is no different. The closed doors, the betrayals, the moments of isolation, they were all brushstrokes in the masterpiece God is creating in and through you. One of the greatest lies they try to plant in your mind during these trials is that you are being punished, that somehow your struggles mean you're not enough, or that you're doing something wrong. These whispers often come when you are at your lowest, when the weight of your circumstances makes it difficult to hear the truth. But hear me clearly, your pain is not a punishment, it is preparation. Romans 8 verse 28 reminds us, And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. The trials you've endured were not meant to destroy you, but to prepare you for the magnitude of the calling on your life. And notice that key word, called. You are not ordinary. You were never meant to blend in with the crowd. Your life has a purpose so significant that it required a unique kind of preparation, one that only God could orchestrate. Let's talk about the rejection you faced. Rejection is one of the hardest things to endure because it cuts straight to the core of your identity. Whether it's a door slammed in your face, a relationship that ended abruptly, or an opportunity that slipped through your fingers, rejection stings. But what if that rejection was God's way of protecting you? What if he was redirecting you toward something better, something more aligned with the purpose he has for you? In Acts 16, Paul and his companions were forbidden by the Holy Spirit from preaching the word in Asia. To them, this might have felt like a rejection, a door closed for reasons they couldn't understand. But God had a greater plan. He was leading them to Macedonia, where their ministry would have an even greater impact. The same is true for you. Every door that closed was God's way of steering you toward the path he designed specifically for you. Then there's the pain of betrayal. If you've been betrayed by someone you trusted, you know how deeply that wound can cut. It's easy to internalize that pain, to believe it's a reflection of your own worth. But betrayal has a hidden purpose too. It's a tool God uses to sharpen your discernment and to remove the people and influences that would hinder your growth. Consider the story of Joseph. His brother's betrayal could have destroyed him. They sold him into slavery, stripping him of everything he had. Yet, even in the depths of that betrayal, God's hand was at work. Joseph himself later acknowledged this in Genesis 50 verse 20 when he said to his brothers, "But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring to pass, as it is this day, to save much people alive. What others intended for harm, God used for good." Your betrayals are no different. They are not the end of your story. They are part of the refining process, preparing you for the greatness that lies ahead. Let's not forget about isolation. There are seasons when it feels like no one understands you, like you're walking this path alone. You might even wonder why God seems silent during these times. But silence is not absence. Sometimes, God allows isolation to draw you closer to him. It's in the quiet moments, when all distractions are removed, that you can hear his voice most clearly. Consider Elijah in 1 Kings 19. After fleeing into the wilderness, feeling utterly alone and defeated, Elijah encountered God. Not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in a still small voice. That voice came to reassure him, to remind him of his purpose, and to renew his strength. If you're feeling isolated, it's not because God has abandoned you. It's because he's drawing you into deeper intimacy with him, preparing you for the next step in your journey. Another aspect of your trials is the development of resilience. Have you ever wondered why the same challenges seem to repeat in your life, like a cycle you can't escape? These patterns are not accidental. They are opportunities to grow stronger, to learn lessons that will serve you in the future. Imagine a tree planted in rocky soil. At first, it struggles to find nourishment. Its roots must push through hard ground, twisting and turning to seek water. But those very struggles are what make the tree strong. Its roots grow deep, anchoring it firmly so that when storms come, it can withstand the wind and rain. You are that tree. Every trial has been strengthening your roots, grounding you in faith, and preparing you to weather the storms that will inevitably come with your calling. These lessons are not just about personal growth. They're about equipping you to fulfill your greater cosmic purpose. Think about the heroes of the Bible: Moses, Esther, David, Paul. None of them had an easy path. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before leading the Israelites to freedom. Esther risked her life to save her people. David endured years of hardship before becoming king. Paul was imprisoned, beaten, and persecuted for his faith. Yet, in every case, their trials were part of the preparation for their divine purpose. Your story is no different. The scale of your trials reflects the magnitude of your calling. God is not just preparing you for a purpose. He's preparing you for a purpose that will impact others, that will bring light into darkness, that will glorify him in ways you can't yet comprehend. So, what does this mean for your daily life? It means that every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow closer to God and to align more fully with His plan for you. It means that the pain you're feeling now is not wasted. It's planting seeds that will bear fruit in due season. Galatians 6 verse 9 encourages us, "And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not." Your trials are not the end of the story. They are the beginning of something extraordinary. Chosen one, if you're beginning to see the bigger picture, if you're starting to understand that your pain has a purpose, then comment "purpose" below. Let this be your declaration that you are no longer a victim of your circumstances, but a vessel being prepared for greatness. Stay with me, because in the next section, we'll discuss the signs that your destiny is about to unfold. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. We've covered why your battles have been so intense and the purpose behind your trials. But here's where it gets exciting. There are signs, undeniable signals, that your preparation is nearly complete. I'll reveal those signs in just a moment. If this message is speaking to you, make sure to subscribe to the channel, share this video with someone who needs it, and click the super thanks button to support this work. The signs that your destiny is about to unfold. Have you ever felt like the ground beneath your feet was shifting? Like something intangible was stirring within you, urging you to prepare for what lies ahead? It's that subtle, yet undeniable sense that everything you've been through is beginning to connect, like scattered puzzle pieces finally coming together to reveal the bigger picture. Chosen one, this isn't your imagination. This isn't random. These shifts are the signs that your destiny is about to unfold. The journey you've been on, with all its pain, lessons, and growth, has brought you to this threshold. And now, the universe is aligning in ways that can no longer be ignored. This is your time. Your moment of transformation is closer than ever before. When God begins to move in your life, He doesn't do it quietly. You may notice relationships falling apart, not because you've done anything wrong, but because those connections no longer serve your purpose. The people who once felt like home may start to drift away, and their absence might sting. It's natural to mourn these losses, but understand that this is part of the divine pruning process. Just as a gardener removes dead branches so that a tree can grow stronger and bear fruit, so too does God remove what is no longer aligned with your destiny. John 15 verse 2 says, "Every branch in me that beareth not fruit He taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit, He purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit." If people are leaving your life, it's not a rejection, it's preparation. God is making room for what's coming next. Another undeniable sign is clarity. Have you ever experienced moments where everything suddenly makes sense, as if a fog has lifted from your mind? These bursts of clarity often come during times of transition, when God is preparing you for the next chapter. You might find yourself looking back on past experiences and realizing their purpose in ways you couldn't see before. Those lessons that felt so painful, those setbacks that seemed unfair, now feel like essential steps in your journey. This is not coincidence, it's revelation. It's God whispering, "Look closely. Everything you've been through has been leading to this moment." At the same time, you may feel drawn toward people, opportunities, or ideas that seem destined. Pay attention to these divine connections. They are not random. They are orchestrated by God to propel you toward your purpose. Perhaps you meet someone who speaks directly to your soul, someone who inspires you or opens a door you never expected. These encounters are not by chance. They are part of the divine alignment that happens when you are stepping into your calling. The story of Ruth and Boaz offers a powerful example of this kind of alignment. Ruth's decision to remain faithful to Naomi and to follow her to Bethlehem set the stage for a divine connection with Boaz, a connection that would not only transform Ruth's life but also place her in the lineage of Jesus Christ. What seemed like a simple act of loyalty and obedience was actually part of God's intricate plan. In the same way, the people and opportunities being placed in your path now are preparing you for something far greater than you can imagine. But while God opens new doors, He also closes others. You may find that doors you once tried to force open are now firmly shut. This can be frustrating, especially if those doors represent dreams you've held onto for years. But understand this, a closed door is not a punishment, it's protection. Isaiah 22 verse 22 declares, "And the key of the house of David will I lay upon his shoulder. So he shall open, and none shall shut, and he shall shut, and none shall open." When God closes a door, it's because He sees what you cannot. He knows what lies beyond that door, and He is shielding you from paths that would derail your destiny. Trust that every no is setting you up for a greater yes. One of the most powerful signs that your destiny is unfolding is an increase in discernment. You may find yourself becoming more sensitive to the energy around you, more aware of what feels right and what doesn't. This heightened discernment is a gift. It's God's way of equipping you to navigate the next phase of your journey. You might notice that certain environments or conversations drain you, while others energize and inspire you. Pay attention to these feelings. They are not random. They are God's way of guiding you toward what is aligned with your purpose. Proverbs 3 verse 6 reminds us, "In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths." When you feel that nudge in your spirit, trust it. It's God leading you toward what's meant for you. You may also experience a shift in your priorities. Things that once seemed important, material possessions, social status, superficial relationships, may no longer hold the same weight. Instead, you find yourself drawn to what truly matters: faith, purpose, connection, growth. This is another sign that your destiny is unfolding. God is stripping away the distractions so that you can focus fully on what He has called you to do. This shift in priorities can feel disorienting at first, as if the ground beneath you is shifting. But trust the process. Just as a caterpillar must shed its old form to become a butterfly, so too must you let go of what no longer serves you in order to step into your transformation. Even your struggles may take on new meaning during this time. What once felt like insurmountable obstacles now feel like opportunities for growth. You begin to see your challenges not as roadblocks but as stepping stones, each one bringing you closer to your purpose. Consider the story of the Israelites crossing the Red Sea. What seemed like an impossible barrier was actually the gateway to their deliverance. In the same way, the challenges you face now are not meant to stop you. They are meant to prepare you for the next phase of your journey. And when you step through them, you'll see that they were always part of the plan. Perhaps the most profound sign of all is an unshakable sense of anticipation. It's that feeling deep within your soul that something is coming, something big. You can't explain it, but you feel it in your spirit, like the calm before a storm or the dawn before the sun rises. This sense of anticipation is not random. It's divine. It's God stirring your spirit, preparing you for what's ahead. Habakkuk 2 verse 3 captures this beautifully. "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry." Your destiny has an appointed time, and you are closer to it than you realize. Chosen one, if you've been noticing these shifts in your life, relationships changing, clarity emerging, doors closing and new ones opening, comment "ready" below. These signs are not coincidences. They are the universe's way of saying, it's time. Stay with me, because in the next section, we'll explore how to step boldly into your calling when your moment arrives. This is the moment you've been preparing for, and it's closer than you think. What you must do to step into your calling. Chosen one, you've endured the trials, grown through the challenges, and seen the signs that your destiny is drawing near. But preparation alone is not enough. Like a runner who trains tirelessly for a race, there comes a moment when you must leave the comfort of the starting line and step into the race itself. This is that moment for you. The season of preparation is shifting into a season of action, and stepping into your calling is no longer just about waiting. It's about moving boldly, with faith and obedience, toward the opportunities God has placed before you. Stepping into your calling requires something extraordinary: courage. Not the kind of courage that ignores fear, but the kind that acknowledges it and moves forward anyway. Courage is rooted in faith, the deep, unshakable belief that God is guiding your steps even when you can't see the full path. James 2 verse 17 reminds us that, "Even so faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone." This means that faith isn't just about believing, it's about acting. It's about taking the next step, even when you don't have all the answers. Imagine Peter stepping out of the boat to walk on water in Matthew 14. He didn't have a roadmap, and he didn't wait for the storm to calm. He simply obeyed the call of Jesus, trusting that the one who called him would sustain him. That same faith is required of you now. Will you step out of the boat, or will you let fear hold you back? Fear is often the loudest voice in the final moments before stepping into your purpose. They will amplify it, whispering doubts into your mind to make you question your worth, your readiness, and even your calling itself. These doubts may sound like, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if this isn't the right time? But remember, fear is a liar. It's a weapon of distraction designed to keep you from moving forward. When God calls you, He doesn't call you to a place of fear, He calls you to a place of trust. In 2 Timothy 1 verse 7, we're reminded, "For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." The power to move forward is already within you because it comes from the one who called you. The distractions will intensify during this time as well. You might find yourself suddenly overwhelmed with tasks, obligations, or even opportunities that seem good on the surface but are not aligned with your calling. Discernment is critical here. Not every open door is from God, and not every opportunity is meant for you. Pray for wisdom and clarity, asking God to show you which path aligns with His purpose for your life. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths." This is your compass in moments of uncertainty. Trust His guidance, even when it leads you away from what seems safe or familiar. Chosen one, if you feel the stirring in your spirit, if you're ready to move from preparation to action, comment "faith" below. Let this be your declaration that you are stepping boldly into the calling God has placed on your life. But don't stop now. There's one final revelation about what happens once you fully step into your purpose, and you won't want to miss it. This is your moment, your turning point, your opportunity to step into the destiny that has been waiting for you all along. Will you take the leap? You've been prepared, you've seen the signs, and now you're stepping into your purpose. But what happens next? The transformation awaiting you is more powerful than you can imagine. Stay with me, because this is the culmination of everything you've endured. What happens once you fully step into your purpose? Once you fully step into your purpose, chosen one, the entire fabric of your life begins to change. It's not a subtle shift. It's a complete transformation. You'll notice that the weight you carried during your preparation now feels different. Not lighter, but meaningful. The battles you fought, the trials you endured, and the lessons you learned suddenly come into sharp focus as tools in your hands. You'll walk with a confidence that comes not from arrogance, but from knowing that you are aligned with a power far greater than yourself. The words of Psalm 37 verse 23, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and He delighteth in His way," will echo in your spirit as each move you make feels purposeful and divinely guided. Stepping into your purpose is like a sunrise after a long, dark night. The journey through the darkness might have felt endless, but as the first light breaks through, you realize that the night was necessary to appreciate the brilliance of the dawn. This is what happens when you align with your destiny. The struggles you once resented now become the fuel for your purpose. The rejection that once crushed you becomes a reminder of how God protected you from what wasn't meant for you. The pain that once broke you becomes the platform on which you stand to inspire and heal others. This is the shift, a redefinition of your life's narrative, where every piece of your past finds its place in the masterpiece God has been creating all along. One of the most immediate changes you'll experience is a sense of divine authority. You'll begin to move through life with a clarity and assurance that others can't ignore. This authority isn't loud or boastful. It's quiet, steady, and undeniable. It's the kind of authority that causes people to stop and listen when you speak, even if they don't fully understand why. Consider the example of Nehemiah, who rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem against all odds. His authority didn't come from his position or resources. It came from his alignment with God's purpose. When you step into your purpose, this same authority will be evident in your life. It's not about what you have. It's about who you are and, more importantly, who is working through you. Chosen one, stepping into your purpose is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning of a new chapter. It's a chapter filled with impact, transformation, and legacy. Your life will become a beacon of hope, a source of light in a world that desperately needs it. And the most incredible part? This is only the beginning. God's plans for you are bigger than anything you can imagine, and as you continue to walk in obedience and faith, He will take you from glory to glory. Chosen one, you were never ordinary. You were always being prepared for greatness. Your battles weren't punishment, they were preparation. Now is your time to rise. If this message resonated with you, make sure to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel to declare your readiness for this next chapter.